Hello everyone. Today we are going to study the concept of demand, demand analysis and determinants of demand. I mean to say today's topic is concept of demand, demand analysis and determinants of demand. So before discussing demand analysis, it is very important to know what is demand, what is the concept of demand. Then I will discuss with you concept of demand analysis. So first of all, I am going to discuss concept of demand. Okay, the word demand is so common and familiar with everyone of us. In our day-to-day life, demand usually means a desire or a want for something. However, in economics, every desire or want is not a demand. The term demand is used in three forms in economics because every desire or a want is not a demand. So, question is, what is demand? The term demand is used in three forms in economics. I mean to say, I will explain the concept of demand with three important points. Okay? So, first important point, demand is an effective desire. Demand is an effective desire. This means a desire of any commodity will become effective desire only when it is supported by following three factors. I mean to say, for making effective desire, it is considered as a three main points like desire for a commodity and the availability of desired commodity and ability to pay for the desired commodity. And next one is willingness to spend for the desired commodity. That's why we can say that demand is an effective desire. Every desire will make an effective, every demand will make an effective desire when desire for a commodity and the availability of desired commodity and ability to pay for the desired commodity. And next one is willingness to spend for the desired commodity. Then we can say that demand is an effective desire. If someone has an effective desire, this is the main point. This is the first one. If you are having an effective desire, but it's not enough to say this is demand. I mean to say, if anyone having effective desire, this is the part of demand. It's not enough to say this is demand. So, first important point is demand is an effective desire. And second one is demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular price. I am repeating again. Demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular price. And third one is demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular time. So we can say that demand is an effective desire. Then demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular price. Demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular time. I mean to say, demand can be explained with the help of an example. Okay, suppose Razul is a serviceman and he wants to purchase a bike. Okay, he wants to purchase a bike. It is only a desire. If you want to purchase a bike, it is only a desire. So, for example, Razul is a serviceman and he wants to purchase a bike. It is only a desire. If Razul has sufficient money to purchase the bike and he is ready to spare this money for the purchase of a bike, it is only a want. But if Rajul says, I am ready to purchase the bike, it cannot be regarded as demand because there is a lack of a particular price and a particular time. If Raju says, I am ready to purchase the bike today for 50,000 rupees, it is a demand. Okay, understand? Like I am repeating again this example for explaining the concept clearly. Like Rajul is a person, Rajul is a serviceman and he wants to purchase a bike. So, purchase a bike, it is only a desire. If Raju has sufficient money to purchase the bike, I am having sufficient money and I am ready to spare this money for the purchase of a bike, but it is only a want. If Rajul says, I am ready to purchase the bike, I am ready to purchase the bike, it cannot be regarded as demand because there is a lack of a particular price and a particular time. Because demand is an effective desire, but demand is the quantity of a commodity demanded at a particular price and particular time also. So, if Rajul says, I am ready to purchase the bike today for 50,000 rupees, it is a demand. Okay, understand? Now, I am going to explain the concept of demand analysis. I have explained the concept of demand, so next topic is demand analysis. Demand analysis. First of all, I want to explain what is the meaning of demand analysis. What is the clear definition of demand analysis? Okay. There are a large number of factors, not a small number. There are a large number of factors which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity of services. Demand analysis means the study of factors which influence the demand of a commodity or services. There are a large number of factors which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity or services, like a large number of factors like price, income, substitute goods, taste of the buyer. So there are a large number of factors which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity and services. Demand analysis means the study of these factors which influence the demand of a commodity or services. Okay, demand analysis seeks to search out and measure the forces that determine sales. Basically, demand analysis is used for forecasting sales and manipulating demand. Besides these, demand analysis is used for planning things rather than profit also. Okay, demand analysis is used for planning things rather than profit also. Because demand analysis is an important benchmark for appraising salesman performance. It is also used to watch the trends of the company's competitive position. Company's competitive position. It is only the basis of these factors or determinants of demand one can forecast demand. Okay, so I can say that under demand analysis we study elasticity of demand and methods of its measurement, sales forecast, and different methods to forecast sales or demand, manipulating demand, and appropriate change in allocation of resources. Okay, analysis of demand enables the producer to adjust his production in order to meet the demand and maximize the objective function. I mean to say, if any producer is going to start a production, so he want to adjust. So demand analysis help to enable the producer to adjust his production in order to meet the demand and maximize the objective function. Now we are going to discuss the major objective of demand analysis. We see that objective of demand analysis are to study and analyze the determinants of demand. Next one, to measure the elasticity of demand. Next, to prepare sales or demand forecast. And the major objective is to manipulate demand. And last major objective of demand analysis is to make appropriate change in allocation of resources. Okay, allocation of resources. These are the major objective of demand analysis. Study and analyze the determinants of demand, to measure the elasticity of demand, to prepare sales or demand forecast, to manipulate demand, and last one is to make appropriate changes in allocation of resources. Okay, in my next slide, I am going to discuss importance of demand analysis. What is the importance of demand analysis? If any producer is going for demand analysis, so why? Question is, why we are going for demand analysis? What is the importance of demand analysis? So demand analysis is done mainly for fulfilling the following managerial purpose. First is manipulating demand and second one is forecasting demand. Okay, first point which I will cover to explain the importance of demand analysis, manipulating demand. Although the scope and use of demand analysis has grown manifold in recent years, there are relatively few firms that take full advantages of it as a technique for formulating business plans and policies. Sales forecasting is mostly passive. It estimates external economic factors and predicts the resulting sales volume the firm can expect if it continues on its present course. The forecasts are then used to program personnel requirement. Personnel word is related to human factor, individuals like employee. So the forecasts are then used to program personnel requirement, purchase and production. The sales forecast being regarded as something imposed upon the company and beyond its control. To use demand studies in an active rather than in a passive way, management must recognize the degree to which sales are a result of not only the external economic environment but also of the action of the company itself. Sales volume will differ depending upon how money is spent on advertising, what price policy is adopted, what product improvements are made, how accurately salesmen and sales efforts are matched with potential sales in various territories, and so forth. I mean to say, estimates of what will happen with no changes in policy are important, but this is only one of many alternative programs. Passive forecast should also be used as a benchmark. For estimating the consequences of other plans for adjusting prices, promotion and products. Now I am going to explain second point, forecasting demand. Forecasting demand. Forecasting is by far the most common use of demand studies, since the sales forecast is the foundation for planning all phases of the company's operations. It follows the purchasing commitment, production schedules, inventory plans, cash budget and capital expenditure programs. All depends on the sales forecast. To get full value from the forecasting of sales, a large company usually needs an established routine and more of top-level coordination. A producer can use a top-level planning committee headed by a full-time planning manager and compromising of production, marketing and finance executives. The committee should be responsible for working up quarterly and annual sales forecast that are made the basis for monthly directives to operating people. For example, plant manager get production orders, sales branches get sales quotes, and warehouse men get estimates of shipping volume of the coming month. Working out these monthly figures for the quarterly forecast can be an intricate job of coordinating cash balance, buying, inventory levels, warehouse spaces, and production capacity, and so forth. When operating plans cannot be set up that match easily with the forecast, the committee itself tackles question of capital outlays that are signal to make the plan to fit together. Okay, so there are large number of benefits, there are large number of importance if any producer is going to adopt a decision for demand analysis. Okay, now I am going to explain in my next slide determinants of demand. I have told you there are a large number of determinants, not a small number. There are a large number of determinants which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity or services also. So it is very important to know which type of determinants which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity or services. Okay, so I will discuss with you determinants of demand in this slide. The most important factor affecting demand I want to tell you, no difference between factors and determinants, both are same. If I will discuss factors of demand and determinants of demand, that means it is same, it will be same. So first determinants which I will discuss with you is price of commodity. First determinant is price of commodity. The law of demand states that if other things remain the same, the demand of the commodity is inversely related to its price. I mean, it implies that a rise in price of a commodity brings about a fall in its purchase. This happens because of income and substitutions effect. Price is the major important determinants which have a direct impact on the demand of a commodity. Okay, second determinants, price of related goods. Price of same goods is important, but next determinant is price of related goods. So what do you understand by related goods? Okay, related goods means the related goods can be classified as substitutes and complementary goods. If someone says to you price of related goods, that means he is indicating substitutes goods and complementary goods. Maybe substitute goods, maybe complementary goods, but related goods indicates substitutes and complementary goods both. Okay, when the price for related commodity changes, it influences the demand. For example, tea and coffee are two substitutes goods. When the price for coffee increases, the demand for tea increases. When commodities are complement, a fall in the price of one will cause the demand of the other to rise, such as car and petrol. In such cases, the price of one good and the demand for another are inversely related. Focus on this point. Two goods which I will discuss for related goods, substitute goods and complementary goods. But the difference between substitute goods and complementary goods is that substitute goods are related positively. That means when the price for related commodity changes, it influences the demand. Tea and coffee are two substitute goods. When the price for coffee increases, the demand for tea also increases. But in the case of complementary goods, if the price of car increases, the demand for petrol decreases. In such cases, the price of one good and the demand for another are inversely related. It can be said that changes in the price of related goods influence the demand of a commodity significantly. Okay. Next determinants is consumers' taste and preference. Consumers' taste and preference is also important factor determinants of demand. The demand for a product depends upon taste and preference of the consumer. If the consumers develop taste for a commodity, they buy whatever may be the price, no matter what is price, because the consumer develop taste for another commodity. So I mean to say, if the consumers develop taste for a commodity, they buy whatever may be the price. A favorable change in consumer preference will cause the demand to increase. Likewise, an unfavorable change in consumer preference will cause the demand to decrease. In general, a change in people's taste or preferences for a product compared to other product will change the amount of the product they purchase at any given price. The physical fitness scales leading to an increase in the demand for bicycle is an example. Other example of a changes in preference that cause shift in demand for other goods and services include an increase in the demand for over-the-counter cold remedies when the weather turns wet and chilly in the winter. Okay. So next determinants, consumers' income. Consumers' income. The demand for a commodity also depends upon the level of income of a consumer. When the income level of the consumer rises, the demand for most of the commodity rises. Okay. However, in case of certain goods, it does not show a significant change with change in income. The demand for low quality goods. Low quality goods, it is also called inferior goods, decline with rise in the income. Focus on this point. The relationship between income and demand is always positive except inferior goods. Okay, the relationship between income and the quantity demanded is always positive except inferior goods, because in the case of inferior goods, inferior goods declines with rise in the income. Okay. Next determinants is the number of consumers in the population. Number of consumers in the population is also an important determinant of demand. Okay. That means demand is a relationship between price and the quantity demanded by all consumers in the market. If the number of consumers falls, then demand would decrease. For example, the number of teenagers in the Indian population are predicted to expand sharply. This will increase the demand for several teen magazines for rollerbladers and for other goods that teenagers tends to buy. Okay, next example I will take here, like as the number of old people in the population increases, the demand for nursing home is expected to increase. Okay, I am repeating this example again. As the number of old people in the population increases, the demand for nursing home is expected to increase. It is not merely a change in the size of the consuming population, but change in the composition of the population too, that affect the demand for certain commodities and services. In a country of increasing population like India, where lakhs of children are born every day, there will naturally be demand for toys, feeding bottles, nipples, etc. Okay. So next determinants is consumers' expectation of future prices. Focus on this point. Consumers' expectation of future prices. Expectations also bring about a change in demand. If prices are expected to rise in future, the demand for goods will increase in the present. Similarly, expectations of rising income will induce current purchase. Example, like in the case of petrol, if you are expecting in future the price of petrol increases, the demand of petrol will increase at a present time, because this will become your need, so you will purchase at present time. Okay. And next example is like LPG gas. Next determinants of demand is changes in money supply. Okay, changes in money supply, I mean to say where there is inflation, the additional money will add to the purchasing power of the commodity. I mean to say where there is inflation, the additional money will add to the purchasing power of the community and the prices will rise. But the rise of prices will not be uniform. In the case of all goods, people will have to readjust their expenditure. Demand for certain things will be reduced and for other stimulated. For example, shortage of sugar in India will lead to increase in demand for gur and shakkar. That means chini. And restrictions on the supply of electricity would create a demand for kerosene lamps and so on. Okay. So next determinant is consumer credit facility. Consumer credit facility is also a determinant of demand, because availability of credit to the consumers from the sellers, banks, relatives and friends or from any other sources encourages the consumers to buy more than what they would buy in the absence of credit facility. That is why the consumer who can borrow more consume more than those who can borrow less. I mean to say credit facility affect mostly the demand for durable goods, particularly those which require bulk payment at the time of purchase. Okay. Now I will discuss next determinants: advertisement and sales propaganda. It is, you know better, this is the important point, advertisement. In modern time, the preferences of consumers can be altered by advertisement and sales propaganda. Advertisement helps in increasing demand by informing the potential consumers about the availability of the product, by showing the superiority of the product and by influencing consumer choice against the rival product. The demand for product like detergent and cosmetics is mainly caused by advertisement. Okay, so last determinant which I will discuss with you, consumers information. Consumer information is also important determinant. This is important determinants. Consumers information. Information relating to a product can also cause the demand curve to shift. Okay. For example, when people learn about the dangers of smoking, the demand of cigarette decline. Similarly, information about the effects of cholesterol may reduce the demand for beef and increase the demand for chicken. Okay, I am repeating this example again. Information about the effects of cholesterol may reduce the demand for beef and increase the demand for chicken. The demand curve for chicken will shift to the right and demand curve for beef would shift to the left. Okay. So there are large number of determinants, there are large number of factors which have direct impact on the demand of commodity or services. It's not a small amount, it's a large number. So like price of commodity, price of related goods, consumers taste and preference is also important determinants. Consumers income, which is positively related except inferior goods, and the number of consumers in the population, consumers expectation of future prices, changes in money supply, consumer credit facility, advertisement is also important determinants of demand, and last factor which I have discussed with you, consumers information. So thank you all.